Hello, loved ones. How are you doing? This is Love Marlene 411, your channel for trauma healing, having those conversations about the healing journey. And today is no different because it's Sunday and it's a new episode of From My Heart to Yours. And I'll be right back after we play the channel song. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all the loved ones. And I will be right back.
I spent a lifetime hiding in the grave with a heavy heart and nothing left to say. Battling shadows, walking in the rhythm of the life I didn't choose. From the silent cries and the darkest nights to the moments I almost gave up the fight, I was lost in the echoes of a hollow sound, searching for a solid piece of ground. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. It's more than just a story, it's a brand new lens, seeing where the trauma stops and where the light begins. Breaking generational chains, link by link, learning how to feel, learning how to think, guarding my spirit, my mind and my peace, watching the anxiety and the tension release. I found a self-love that was always meant to be a gift from God, now living in me. No more worthlessness, no more shame. I'm calling out the joy and I'm calling it by name. I am conscious of the seeds we sow. Watch how the garden starts to grow. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. Spread the love, spread the light, live your best life, hold on tight. I'm Love Marlene 411. The journey has just begun.
Hello, loved ones. How are you doing? Welcome to a new episode of From My Heart to Yours. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to the channel members. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for your support. So, today we're going to get right into another episode of From My Heart to Yours. And this week's episode, let me put up the banner for this topic. Today, we're going to be talking about healing. As every single week, we talk about healing on this channel. The secret to breaking deep generational curses. Now, I cannot say what is going to work for you. All I do is I come on live and I talk about the things that has helped me to have a healthy healing journey from the things that I have overcome in my life. And I share so transparently. And I'm hoping that something that I share is going to help somebody else to grow, somebody to heal, and someone to break generational curses just like I did. Now, the really the main reason why I wanted to talk about this is because if we stop weaponizing our mistakes against our progress, and instead we apply the patient compassion to our lives, and we start to begin to treat ourselves as it's possible for me to heal. It's possible for me to be my best self and for restoration and growth instead of brokenness and the trauma, but learning how we can nurture ourselves and know that we are worth it. I'm self worthy. I am deserving of having everything that is meant to be for me. But the only way we can do this is by finally breaking those lingering generational chains of brokenness and pain and hurt and all those things. So, this topic today about applying patient love to yourself while breaking difficult generational curses, because one of the hardest things is for us to learn how to reframe our life. Reframing is how we benefit. That's the only way we can benefit in this life is by reframing the way that we think about our life and understanding that it is possible for me to grow. I don't have to be in my lifetime or my kids or grandkids or anybody moving forward. We don't have to continue the brokenness. You don't have to continue the brokenness. And I love that for myself. And I love that for all of you who are here too. I love that we're having these conversations about let's stop being stuck. Let's stop allowing ourselves to be sad, mad, angry, and also not choosing ourselves, because I spent the majority of from my childhood up until I would say maybe about 24, 25 years old. I spent all that time believing that I had to always put everybody first in my life. I had to always, and that is also a part of the reason why we hurt so often, is because we have not given ourselves the permission to say, I do deserve to heal. I do deserve to be better than the brokenness. I deserve to be better than all of the people who hurt me, all of the ones that put me down. And I love that for us, loved ones. I love that for us, that we're healing and we're growing. Hi, Kiara. How are you? Hey, Miss Tracy. It's good to see you. And I love that we are having this conversation and talking about breaking deep generational curses and learning to be patient with ourselves and love ourselves, all of those things. Um, because that's not something that I grew up in it. I don't know about you guys, but I personally didn't grow up knowing that I deserve to love myself. And the secret to it was patient love. That I, instead of always applying patience and compassion and love to everybody, that I deserve to be patient with myself. I deserve to heal. I deserve to think about what is my interest, what are my goals, and that's the secret to stopping the anger and the sadness. But we're going to get into a little bit deeper of some of the reasons why I know for sure that I have broke generational curses, because I have learned how to reframe my life. And one of the first questions that I had to ask myself is, what is the biggest obstacle to breaking your family's trauma? Is it the past, or is it how you treat yourself today? I'll say that again. What is the biggest obstacle to breaking your family's trauma? Is it the past, or is it how you treat yourself today? Why it's important to reframe that, because in your mind, you may be thinking that it's all because of what has happened to me. It's easy to stay in that broken, name blaming, blaming your parents or whoever it was that brought the trauma to you, whoever had done whatever wrong to you. It's easy to keep blaming and then being angry another generation and another generation instead of breaking those chains and redirecting and being accountable for ourselves. I think that's one of the most important things in this life is being accountable for your actions, what you've done. Have you got in the driver's seat of your life? What have you done to actively participate in making your life better? And when I stopped blaming my parents, my siblings, everything started to shift in my life because it's easy to stay in that broken, in that comfort zone instead of shifting back and saying, yes, this, and this happened to me, but what have I done to change it? What have I done to make my life better? What have I done to heal? And for me, I know for sure I didn't do anything to heal. All I did was complain. And, this is a judgment free zone. I'm not making excuses or anything. I'm just saying what it has been for me. And I think that it's that way for many of us. We blame our parents, we blame the past, you blame your ex, you blame this person, you blame your siblings, instead of us actually saying, okay, yes, this happened. Yes, that happened. Miss Tracy says, right, I'm going through that. Yes. And my whole thing is that I wanted to not continue on this brokenness. I don't want my nieces and nephews and cousins, or apply it to your family situation, your family dynamic. You shouldn't want what happened to you to continue another generation. One thing that I know for sure that I have healed in my family is communication. And in our family, we grew up, it's like we're upset, we will shut down, we will ignore, we will ghost, we will be disrespectful, we will project our fears, our insecurities onto one another. And I had to say that this has to stop. We have to stop hurting the people that we love and shift that into setting boundaries, saying, I need some time. But it takes a little time to get into that. It does. It takes maturity. It takes you finally accepting and being accountable. It's all of that. And it really is a secret. That's really a secret sauce, is being accountable for ourselves and stop blaming sister, aunts, grandparents, your parents, whatever. Stop blaming the dysfunction and get in front of the dysfunction. What does the dysfunction cause me to do? Okay. This dysfunction may have caused you to ignore because that's what you saw. But now I force myself. No, I'm not going to ignore it. It's also writing some things down and saying this, and this is something on myself and my family right now that I don't want to bring into the next generation. And my number one thing is I didn't want to be that dysfunctional part, like, yelling, um, cussing each other out, talking to being degrading, calling each other stupid or other harmful and mean names. I did not like that growing up. I remember cringing and hearing that, like, oh, you're so stupid, you don't do anything right, not being supportive of one another. That is something that's a generational curse, but that's something that we have the power to pivot it. We have the power to change it. You don't have to stay broken. You don't have to keep doing what your parents did, or your grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever raised you. You don't have to stay in that painful space. You can change that. And my thing is that I wrote down a few things, 4 or 5 things that I try to work on in a year, which It gives you about two, you could work on about two things every few months. And that's reasonable. It's reasonable and attainable, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start with accountability. You have to be realistic. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to stop blaming the past. And you have to get in the driver's seat of your life and say, I have done this. This was done to me. Now, what am I going to do to change it? Because if you just keep making excuses about what your parents did or talking about what other people did and you are not doing anything to change it, it will stay the same. Actually, it most likely will get worse. And we don't want it to get worse. We want for us to not be that broken. I want to see, you want to see your children, you want to see your grandchildren, you want to see cousins and aunts like getting together, spending time with one another, encouraging one another, building up one another. And it can only start first. The first seed, the first part of that chain has to be us. Now, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie to you guys because I have been so used to the being dysfunctional. I have been so used. My mom did this, or my dad did this, or this one and this one hurt me. It's easy to continue the cycle of what you've seen. But when you say I'm a whole adult, you are a whole adult now. And if you are over 18, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, 40s, and up. When are you going to stop making excuses? When are we going to stop hurting the people that is supposed to be taking control and charge of our families? It can only start by us making changes. So for me, that secret sauce was working on me first. I had to stop. I had to do a lot of stopping to making excuses like, well, my mom did that. So because my mom did it, I'm going to do it. Just because something happened to you does not make it okay. Just because all you've seen is brokenness and dysfunction, it does not mean that it has to continue. And my that was my thing. I think that's where I started to pivot and change, is saying that it has to stop with me. It has to stop with you. It has to stop. So that's one of those things that you may have people in your life that may not be on board with the change. They may not be on board. It could be your children. It could be aunts and uncles. Sometimes some people, they just want to be angry. They just never want to grow up. They never want to heal. They want to be angry. They want to be a manipulator for the rest of their life. But it does not mean that you have to keep allowing it. So I had to start with a process of writing down what is important to me. What do I want to change? What do I want to pivot and change from? And I have a list of about 5 things that I wanted to change in my generation. I didn't want to be the angry. I didn't want to be that angry, as I call the angry black woman. I didn't want to be a person who didn't know how to communicate my feelings, not just making assumptions that other people knew how I was feeling. And that is a very toxic thing. Expecting your kids, spouse, whoever you're around to know how you feel or what you're going through if you have not communicated in a way that they understand, because we're all different. And it's also how you talk to them, not saying things, yelling and screaming. That's not going to accomplish anything. We accomplish things by speaking with maturity, taking and talking face to face, sitting down and just covering one thing. You know, today, first, you always start off with talking about something good. I appreciate that you're in my life. I love you so much. We've been through a lot of things. For instance, talking to your children or siblings or whoever it is, and then you say, but this is something that I have been wanting to change. Make sure that you make it about you and not pointing fingers that you do this. No, This is something that I've been wanting to work on moving forward with our family. And you just state that I want to change, maybe arguing. So from moving forward, if you're upset, don't talk when you're upset. Just say, I need a moment. Let's see. Miss Tracy says, just done talking with one of my daughters about the same situation. Okay, so this applies. Hi, Nat. How are you? Happy Sunday. Welcome. And we got Robert Gant in the house. Good afternoon. How are you doing? So that's one of the things that I had to do. I had to start with 5 things, and then I wrote down those 5 things, and we started to talk about things one by one. And that was my first thing, is I wanted to stop berating one another. Like, you know, if you're upset, you're not going to be cussing me out. You're not going to call me out my name. We're going to stop that. That is something that has to heal. And one thing that I know for sure that I had to heal is when I was upset, to not be talking when I'm upset, but to be mature. And like, you can say at the time when someone does something that you don't like, I don't appreciate that, but we're going to talk about this later. We're going to revisit this. When you're mature, when you're healing, when you're breaking generational curses, you have to learn how a new way to communicate, because obviously the way that we have been communicating has not been working. And it's not just you expecting others to respect your boundaries. No, it means that you also are respecting theirs. So it's not getting in other people's business. It's telling people, like, and reinforce it. From this time to this time, I'm no longer going to be available. But things that you may have been letting go, it's time for us to put those things out there. I'm no longer going to be arguing with you. I'm not going to be messy. I'm not going to be choosing sides. Whatever it is, I'm not going to allow others to stress me out, because of X, Y, and Z. So when you see I don't answer, it's because, not because I don't love you, not because I don't want to support you, but I have to prioritize my health. I have to prioritize my well being. Yes, Robert, hit the like button and share this live out with others. Yes, every day, Robert, every day I'm blessed. Every day. And you too. And everybody who is in the chat. Yes, Robert says, stand firm and protect yourself. I do think that that's a very important thing, is that you have to stand firm. But something that's very important, loved ones, that I want to bring out, when we feel passionately about certain things, I also had to learn that being very abrasive, being rude to others, is not going to help with your healing or others. We all need to learn how to talk to each other in a kinder, a nicer, and a more respectful way. That's something that I'm being real and honest. I had to learn how to be a better communicator, and I had to tell them, when I'm upset, I'm going to take a break, and I will circle back later. But right now, I'm kind of upset, so I'm not going to talk to you when I'm upset, but we will talk later. But you do have to learn how to respect others. You cannot be screaming and yelling and berating and then expect and peace, within your family, within yourself. If you want respect, you have to give respect, and you set the standard. And if other people are not going to aren't going to respect you back, these are the times where it's like, okay, now I'm going to have to cut you off because I've asked. And that's just how it is. Sometimes in our healing, in our breaking generational curses, there's some people that are not going to go along with the program. They don't want to pivot. They don't want to grow. They want to be angry. They just want to use you. They want for you to keep enabling them. And they always try to hide behind, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't mean it. No, that's not going to fly anymore. Yes, show others how to treat you by respecting yourself first. Yeah, and that was one of the things that I had to honestly learn in breaking generational curses. I didn't grow up putting myself first, taking care of my mental health, taking care of my finances, taking care of what I needed to take care of so I would be happy and at peace. What I would always choose is choose to make everybody happy, choose to be the supporter, choose to be kind, choose to help people financially, choose to do everything for others. And my secret to my well being and breaking generational curses was saying no, setting that boundary, putting that out there, saying no and meaning it and standing on it. Even if other people are upset, they don't talk to you, it's cool because this is a new chapter in my life. So there are some people in my life that don't talk to me anymore, and I'm okay with it because now I have my peace of mind. Now I have money that I can pay my bills on time because I'm not giving out everything to everybody. See, when you learn to respect yourself, there's going to be people who aren't going to like it. They're going to walk away. They're not going to talk to you anymore because when people realize that they can no longer use you, now they're done with you. And that's okay. It's okay when people are done with you because you don't want toxic people to be around you all the time, all the time, all the time. Especially relatives can be the hardest to deal with. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing? Relatives can be the most difficult to deal with because relatives take you for granted. Notice I said relatives and not family because family chooses you back. Family respects boundaries. Family will support. Relatives is not always the case. A person can be your relative and your family, but some people are will always because they don't know how to give love. They only want to get that handout. They want money. They want your time. They want to know your business. They want to control you. They want to be judgmental. That's all some want to do. And part of breaking that generational curse is expecting for people to be who they are. Expect for people to be themselves, and then you making a decision if you want to keep them in your life. That's something that I most definitely had to learn. I had to learn that not everybody in my life deserved to be there. And that was a very hard pill for me to swallow, that the people that I have known for my whole life, they're not benefiting me. They're actually hurting me. They take me for granted. They feel like I have to do this for them, or they don't say thank you. There's no kindness. There's no goodness. It's always do more, do more, do more, do more, like demanding, not asking. And that gets to be very exhausting. And you raise generations to expect others to do for them, and they'll never be giving back to you. And that's something that we have to break as more leaders of the family. Standing up for the generational healing is we somebody has to stop and say no more. I'm not going to enable you anymore. I'm not going to allow you to keep disrespecting me, and you have to cut them off. Sometimes you have to just leave them alone. You have to put them out. If they're living in your house, you have to put them out. You have to stop taking their phone calls. You just have to stop. Yeah. So that gives you the right to choose yourself, knowing that you need to provide to keep a roof over their head. Yes. You have to make a decision. Everybody is going to be different, but we all know the things that trigger us. We all know the things that hurt us, the things that make us feel lost. And one thing that I know for sure that my parents used to do, namely my mother, was be very, judgmental. You're doing this, you're doing this. But when somebody would tell me something about myself that I needed to work on, I would feel like I would put up the walls, like, oh, I don't want to talk anymore. So, a part of breaking that generational curse, when you open up that door and you to fix this and this, you have to also be open for the criticism. You have to also be open and say, yes, I have been really mean. I've been rude to you. I haven't been kind. I haven't been a good communicator. Whatever it is, you a part of the growth process is learning to trust one another, learning to communicate with one another without jumping down each other's throat. And somebody doesn't have to always be right. One thing that has helped in my family was there's sometimes where neither one of us is going to agree about things, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. We don't always both have to be right. You can say how you feel. I can say how I feel. I may not like it. I may not agree. Whatever you say to them, they may not like it. They may not agree, but you respect each other and love each other for how they feel. And if somebody is telling you, I don't like if you talk about this, I don't like that maybe you shame me or embarrass me, or you don't give me the support, you got to take that and you got to sit on it a while as an adult and take ownership. Maybe that's something I know for me, it was hard for me to process this part about when someone would tell me something and I would be like, no, that's not true, because the immediate thing is to put up that wall to try to protect yourself because you don't want to face the truth and the reality. We all know the things that we need to work on: anger issues, being judgmental, um, maybe saying slick things with our tongue. I started to learn that when someone would say something to me, I've learned to be slower to respond, because they're allowed to have their opinion. They're allowed to not like something, but also on the same token, we cannot expect the healing to take place in from our generation to the next generation if there is no bridge of respecting each other's boundaries and opinions. So, patience is the essential part of this conversation today, is being patient with one another. So the next question is, we often weaponize our mistakes against our own progress, turning healing into a high stakes race. We can't win. It's time to stop the internal warfare and apply a radical, patient grace to your fractured history. Because we all know that everybody in their family, nobody has the perfect family. We've all been through things. We've all been hurt. We've all been feel abandoned at times. We've felt misunderstood, not supported, disrespected, whatever is causing the brokenness. But you first have to find out what is hurting you, and you got to put that in words. Then you have to have a plan. What am I going to do next? Am I going to allow these individuals to stay in my life, or am I going to cut them off, or am I going to take a break from them? Those are usually the three things that you can do in in a healthy family unit. Is you're going to have the ones that will work on the relationship. They will be accountable, you will be accountable, and you got to understand the ones that won't, and the ones that they want to, but they just don't know how because they got their issues going on. But what's important is that the conversations happen, the healing journey starts. So you start talking about things and you grow and you're accountable. So, healing from generational curses is really it's not like a demolition project or something. It's a slow, it's a slow process. It's like making a stew or something. There's a lot of ingredients that you got to add to that. Just like it's been so many years of brokenness and pain and hurt. The same thing when the healing journey and developing a unity and peace within your family and learning to communicate with one another. It's a slow process, but the benefits, like in the long run, um, in my family, we have been working on our healing journey. I would say it's been about 6 years because for us, our healing couldn't start until some of our ancestors, some of the older ones, the elders in the family, until they passed on. I don't know why, but sometimes the ones that are older are really, they're not open to the healing, and it causes a lot of rifts and dysfunction because some of the things that the older generation would do, they would allow wrong things. Instead of one standard, they would give one standard to the boys, one standard to the girls, or the older ones, and that's not good. There has to be one standard in the family: maturity, accountability, kindness, and respect. If those factors are taking place within your family unit, you will always be broken. And that's not what we want. We don't want to continue to have that sort of brokenness. We want better. At least I can say in my family, we wanted better. We just didn't know how to change that. At least I know I didn't. I didn't know how to heal it. Robert says sometimes the older generation still holds on to the problem. Yeah. And that's one of the things that happened in our family is the older ones, didn't agree with things like they thought the only way to deal with things is screaming, or when it comes to that, discipline doesn't always have to be smacking and hitting. That discipline can be communicating. Discipline can be letting people know you care about them, but you're not going to allow X, Y, and Z. And it's on both sides. So my healing journey really started with me knowing what I wanted. And you each have to know what you want to heal. And for me, it was like a very deep, deep wounds inside of me, just like you guys, I'm sure. There's some deep things that's happened, traumatic things, dysfunction. You kind of get used to the dysfunction. You get used to the emotional and the verbal abuse. You get used to um, the ones that are never supportive, or the ones that feel like you will always be there so that they can do whatever they want, and that's just not going to work. Robert says, or even not talking about it and hoping nobody will bring it up or talk about it. Yeah. So, there was a few things that in my family unit that we couldn't have healing until a few people in our family had passed on. That was just in our case, and it was a completely different story because now the ones that was always enabling, the ones that were always very dysfunctional, now we have to say, we're not doing what X, whoever their name, we're not doing that anymore. Now, when someone does something wrong, you will be called out for it. And if you don't change your behavior, we're going to take breaks from you. That's what we do in our family. We're not going to keep taking that dysfunction. And that has really been helping my family. When someone who, like, they like to be rude, they like to embarrass, they like to do very toxic behavior, and your family has to come together, and you have to have new things that you say to one another. We're not going to allow the toxicity anymore. Okay. And if this and this happens, what are we going to do about it? It's that sort of unity that has been the secret to breaking my family's deep generational curses, is learning to communicate with one another. Maybe you've never really talked about things that bother you, and we had a long family meeting about things that we don't like. Um, and sometimes your family will be very surprised that, oh, I didn't know you didn't like that. Why you never said anything? Because if you don't have the support in your family, you never feel safe enough to talk about it. For like, one thing for me was, I don't like those get-togethers. I don't like them because it's always allowing those toxic people that they never bring any food. They show up late. They leave early. They don't help. They don't contribute the food. They don't help cook. They don't clean, and they're gone. And that happens in so many other areas with the family. So we had to, as a family, re redo this, how we were just allowing people to just come in and not put any deposits into the family. That's not a good thing. Like, we no longer allow that. Everyone is going to contribute, and whatever your contribution is, it counts. Like, some are not going to be able to contribute financially, but maybe they can contribute by, you're going to, they'll allow you to use their home, or they will clean or do some other things. Everybody's has a purpose in the family. And that was something that we did not have before. Everybody feeling like we have a purpose. We belong. You belong here. You're important here. Um, Even saying that to one another, we had to start doing that. Like, you have a purpose in this family. And that really helps to bond you together. That helped me a lot, because the sad part with families is that most families don't talk about how much they're loved. Most families don't talk about how important they are and what they mean. It's very sad that most people, the only time you find out about what people actually were about, what they liked, what they didn't like, is when they pass away. Like, you learn things. Oh, I didn't know they did this, or they were good at this sport, or etc. I didn't want that. Wanted for our family to have the unity, and to have the conversations, like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what pisses me off, this is like the red zone. If you do this, like, I'm not dealing with you anymore. It's important to hear from one another without interrupting. And that was another important thing in my family, is that we're not going to interrupt one another. There's not going to be any judgment about what they like. Let everybody feel how they feel. Robert says, I would have charged them at the door if they didn't bring anything to the function. Yeah, and it happens all the time. It happens all the time, but we have stopped that. Yeah. Ooh, only you can stop what you don't like. Only you can make changes within your family, and that is what really changes the dynamic of everything. So, one thing is that I had to learn is that you cannot rush breaking those chains that were forged over decades of inherited pain. You know, it that healing process, that unity, it starts by you nurturing your self-worth. And it takes place by that quiet patience. I had to learn to sit down and say, I choose me. So I wasn't going to allow myself to always be available. Not everybody was allowed to have access to me like they would before. Like, Now I'm booked and busy. I have plans. Like, you can't just drop your kids off. You can't just think I'm going to always be bailing you out. It's like, if I can, if I want to, I will, but don't count on me. That's one thing that in my family I had to really reinforce, that I love you guys, but my love does not mean that I'm only in your life just to be able to give you financially or to support you. Um, Love is an action word. Love goes on two sides. It's not just I give you love and I never receive love and I never get support or a phone call or the things that I need, because each and every one of us has different love languages. Some people want acts of service, some want quality time. And something that I think in families that we need to really be bringing in to have that healing within families and start breaking those generational curses is show affection. I see that so many families, they don't show affection. Hug one another, you know, talk to one another, and stop gossiping. That's one thing that really had a lot of emotional pain in our family, was talking about another person behind their back, about their private issues and problems. If we can't help or support, then we don't judge. It's like, just because one person can do something a certain way, we're not all the same. We're different, and we have to learn to appreciate and support and love people for where they are. And if you can't support it and love it, then you give that person space, give them some distance. And that's a part of a healthy family dynamic, is understanding that sometimes I have to take a break from you so that I can be okay mentally. And that was a part of me applying compassion to myself for the first time in my life. I had never been compassionate to myself. I had always just been supportive of everybody. And I had to learn to start supporting myself. And what do I personally want? What was important to me? And yeah, it's all of that. So let me get back to this information here. Um, so here is the call to action, the empathetic call to action. Most of us have been carrying the weight of our ancestors that you never met, but you don't have to break those chains by breaking yourself. The transformation happens when we trade perfectionism. This is the big part. When we trade for perfectionism for a patient love that heals our deepest wounds. Okay. So we have to stop thinking like we don't have to be like the Brady Bunch, but we can be better. We can talk to one another. We can be respectful. And if individuals don't want to communicate, if they don't want to be respectful, then those are the ones that you have to give distance to. Those are the sometimes even your own relatives, you have to block them. You have to block them so that your family can have peace, because there's usually a few people, maybe two to four people in the family, that is causing all of the discord, that's causing all of the anger, that so many people are just sick of them using everybody. And once you have that conversation, like, we're not going to keep letting you run over us, because you're never there for us, you're never supportive, and they're going to get upset. There's going to be anger. They're going to say, "Oh, you're judging me. You're this and you're that," and they won't like it because now you've unmasked. You put all the cards on the table, and it's cool for me if they don't want to be a part of the family anymore, the relatives unit. They just want to be on their side. That's fine. That's one thing that I had to learn when I wanted peace. when I wanted to. You can't have dysfunctional people breaking everybody down, stabbing everybody in the back, taking advantage of the older people or whoever, taking advantage of everybody. So that's my secret to healing the deep generational curses is being patient with myself, being compassionate with myself, giving myself the permission to say I'm no longer going to always make myself available. Okay? That's over. That's done. You have to set boundaries. You have to say no, and you have to stand firm on that. And some aren't going to like it, and it's cool. But there will be some that you're going to develop closer bonds. It sometimes it may only be you may have to cut off the majority of your relatives. There may only be one or two of you that you can be cool with, and everybody else you just got to leave them alone. That's just what it is sometimes. That secret to breaking generational curses is you cannot keep allowing people to be toxic and dysfunctional and use you, and you're very unhappy, you're miserable. It's affect so one person or a few people could be affecting like 20 people. We have to stop that, and not just saying we don't like it or I've told them. After a while, after you tell people what they're doing to hurt you, you have to do something about it. Okay, I've told you you're disrespectful. I've told you you're rude. I told you that you're a user or X, Y, and Z. And if they don't want to change their behavior, now you know it's time to cut those people off. It may mean you got to tell them to get out your house. I'm giving you 90 days to leave. I'll give you 30 days, 60 days. Or maybe if it's easier, maybe you should go. Sometimes that is the solution to breaking generational curses is that you have to change your location. You have to stand firm on what you want and who you are. And this new version of you, this healed version of you, that you stop taking people's mess, you stop letting siblings or your kids or aunts, grandparents, whoever, when you stop letting people use you, you find out who really cares about you. Because now that I have stopped letting certain relatives take advantage of me, they don't deal with me anymore because they're not getting money from me. I'm not taking care of your kids for free. All that toxicity that ends. So when you know better, what do? We do better, you know? So now I want to hear from my loved ones here. I got 7 minutes left in today's From My Heart to Yours episode. This is when I want to hear from all of you loved ones. What are you doing in your family to break generational curses? What have you done differently? Are you communicating better? Have you set standards? Have you cut people off? Have you blocked people? What have you guys done in your family that has changed things? One thing that I know that I had to do, which I didn't want to do, was I had to say no, and I had to mean it. Heavy on, say what you mean, and don't change. And people will start asking you why. When you change, when you say no, when you won't allow them to use you, why? Or they're gonna say you changed. Oh, I don't like. Of course, they don't like this new you, this happy you, this healed you, this you that has peace, because this new version of you is not going to allow foolishness. Is not going to allow toxicity and dysfunction. And when you stop that, you're going to have time for yourself. You're going to love on yourself. You're going to respect yourself. And you're going to have time to do the things that you want to. So that really is the secret sauce to breaking generational curses, is being patient with yourself, working on yourself, forgiving other people, and then moving accordingly and not letting other people traumatize you. It's like, stop letting people continuously hurt you. We each have to stop that. We have to stop letting our relatives use us. And you can love people, but they can cause you to go in an early grave. You can be up there having high blood pressure, all kinds of stressful, like having headaches. Your mental health will be messed up, all because you may just need to cut them off. You may need to just no, I can't help you anymore. Robert says, I've cut people off and making sure my son knows how to think and get things done for himself and not count on others. Yes, we each have to be independent, you know? You may have to be teaching that to your kids or aunts or uncles or whoever, because some, like, they go too far. They make it feel like you have to, you must, like it's a requirement. Miss Miss Tracy says, I'm working on it. Major decisions in the future and have to not pick it up again repeatedly. Yeah, just stop. When like when you've had conversations like I've had to do with certain relatives, tell them, I've already told you, so don't come back with that. Like, don't just dismiss it right away. There's no engagement. There's no, oh, can you just do it this time? No, because if you keep enabling their toxic behavior, it's going to continue. You will continue to be miserable. And why? Why should you be miserable? Um, why should you be unhappy? Why should so many people be unhappy because of a few people that have not grown up? Or especially if you have some relatives that have some addictions, they got some problems with, alcohol, and other substances, their dysfunction, their poor decisions that they've made as an adult, that's not your problem. It's not your problem that people have a lot of kids. That's not your problem that they don't have a babysitter. That's not your problem that they keep making bad decisions or they get laid off because they have a hot head. This is not your problem. And if you keep enabling them or bailing them out, of course they're going to continue. But when they realize that, oh, they're not going to help me, they're going to have to grow up. You know, that's the important part right there. They're going to have to grow up. So I really enjoyed this discussion today. I hope that this was a healing for somebody and it gave you an opportunity to think about yourself, your family. Take out a notebook today and write down some things that you want to work on for your generational healing, because we don't have to stay in the toxic. We don't have to continue to be angry. We don't have to keep allowing a few individuals to ruin the peace and the joy and the happiness that you can have in your family. Maybe your family from here on out will only be you and one other person, or you and a few other people. Having a lot of people around and saying this is my family, but if it's always arguing and brokenness and using and disrespect, is it worth it? It's not. Only you can make the changes. All I can do is share my story, share some things that has helped me, and hopefully it will help somebody else. I wish you all nothing but peace, blessings, and I wish you a happy healing journey. Shout out to everybody who was in here today, Miss Tracy and Robert and Natalie and Miss Betty. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate every single. Thank you always for your support. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I have many videos many different live streams. And on Thursday, with my co-host, Miss Nexie, we do the sip and chat about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. And Robert says, only I can make myself happier. Yes. And if you're not happy, you have to ask yourself why. Okay. It's personal accountability, self love, and self respect, and you deserve to get all of it. A happy healing journey, sending you guys nothing but positivity, nothing but love. Happy healing journey. I am Love Marlene 411, your channel for a healing journey, because when we learn to love ourselves, when we set boundaries, when we work on ourselves, we can show others how to have that same application of love. Okay. See you guys on the next episode next week. And I'll see you guys on the Sip and Chat on Thursday. Peace, guys.
I spent a lifetime hiding in the grave with a heavy heart and nothing left to say. Battling shadows, walking in the rhythm of the life I didn't choose. From the silent cries and the darkest nights to the moments I almost gave up the fight, I was lost in the echoes of a hollow sound, searching for a solid piece of ground. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. It's more than just a story, it's a brand new lens, seeing where the trauma stops and where the light begins. Breaking generational chains, link by link, learning how to feel, learning how to think, guarding my spirit, my mind and my peace, watching the anxiety and the tension release. I found a self-love that was always meant to be, a gift from God now living in me. No more worthlessness, no more shame. I'm calling out the joy and I'm calling it by name. I am conscious of the seeds we sow. Watch how the garden starts to grow. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. Spread the love, spread the light, live your best life, hold on tight. I'm Love Marlene 411. The journey has just begun.
See you guys next week. Bye bye, guys.